Have you ever watched an anime so atrociously bad that you need to take breaks from watching it to do literally anything else? No? Sure, that may mean my dopamine receptors are fried, but I like to think that it means that the show is just boring and uninteresting. Possibly The Greatest Alchemist meets both of these requirements. It is genuinely one of the worst isekai anime I've ever watched. The plot, pacing, and explanations for the world all feel weak. Let me introduce you to the main character, Iruma Takumi, who I'll call MC because I'd probably butcher the name otherwise. MC is a 40-year-old salaryman from Earth who gets accidentally summoned to another world when the Holy Sidonia Empire tries to summon heroes using illegal magic. I'll admit, that setup does sound interesting. Someone getting caught in a hero summoning isn't new, but arriving a year before the heroes could have been a great idea. Maybe he'll go on a cool quest. Maybe he'll meet cool people. Maybe he'll prevent people from being summoned in the first place. Or maybe, just maybe, he's the reason the heroes are summoned. Those possibilities had me curious about where the story was going. However, nothing interesting is done with those possibilities. My biggest issue with the show is that every interesting conflict gets resolved in the exact same episode or next episode. The main character needs a house, it gets built in the same episode. The main character doesn't have enough mana to use his abilities, that problem gets fixed right away. The main character gets warned about revealing light magic, and he reveals it in the exact next episode. Sophia has a curse that's plagued her for 50 years. Oh well, that problem gets resolved in one episode. They build a functioning Wedgestone city in one episode. This part is unintentionally hilarious because it takes less than 5 minutes of screen time for the MC to get told to build the village, move the villagers, and finish the city. I kid you not. Watch episode 10 and start at around 8 minutes. The main character meets the heroes for one episode. The villains who were built up the entire show barely matter at all. The main character also says he doesn't want slaves. He literally says to himself,
"Why, I implore you to form a contract with a slave as quickly as possible."
Please, I need to stop you right there. I don't believe in using slave labor.
He gets convinced in the next episode, but apparently it's fine because he needs help with his mandatory guild quest. That makes no sense because he should be more than capable of handling an F-rank quest all by himself. The show's justification for him needing a slave is because slaves are bound to secrecy. Since he has light magic, which the Holy Sidonia Empire views as magic only the heroes chosen by the goddess can use, he needs someone who can't reveal anything about him. Before I continue, let's talk about how slavery works in this world. In this world, contract magic binds a slave to a master. The rights of the slave are supposedly protected. The owner pledges to honor the slave's rights. The contract forbids either party from harming the other. Slaves are bound to whatever is written in the contract. For example, Maria refuses to sleep with the main character, so the contract doesn't force the slave into that. Slaves are also banned from sharing information about their owner with other people. There are multiple types of contracts. Debt contracts, where people enter into slavery to repay a debt. Criminals can become slaves as a form of rehabilitation, and prisoners of war can also accept contracts in exchange for a place to live. Barbensi, that doesn't sound that bad. If slaves have protected rights and owners aren't allowed to harm them, then what's the problem? Hold up. Did you just stop the music? First off, why did you interrupt? And second, there's one final detail. People can be forced into slavery. In fact, the most common type of slavery in Bolton and in this world are ordinary people being kidnapped by thieves or bandits and illegally forced into contracts.
Most common of all are those who've been captured by thieves or bandits and illegally forced into slavery. Saddening, isn't it?
Yes, regular people can be forced into slavery. The show claims there are laws against it in this country, but that means nothing when other countries with different laws exist. The male heroes even mock Akane, the female hero, for treating her slave too kindly, which shows how normalized slavery is in this world. The reason I'm bringing all this up is because one of the slaves, the elf girl Sophia, falls in love with the main character. At first, their relationship was actually interesting. She hated the main character and distrusted him, which made complete sense for her. She even followed the usual trope where slaves are shocked that they're treated so well and allowed to eat at the same table. The main character needed to cure Sophia's curse, and of course, the curse got removed in the exact next episode after it's introduced. That's the entire justification for why Sophia falls for him. He cures the curse she suffered with for 50 years. But the problem is the show resolves it instantly. He doesn't struggle to cure her. There's no long-term emotional payoff. It's fixed in one episode. After being cured, Sophia promises to protect the main character. Nothing important happens after this until episode 9, where he threatens to cancel the contracts he has with them. This scene also makes no sense because Popek already explained that only war slaves can be freed by their masters. And if you can't put two and two together, Sophia is the only war slave in the group. Ever since one of the girls brings up the contracts, they all complain whenever he tries to end them. They want to remain his slaves and stay with him. But it gets worse. In episode 11, he brings up dissolving the slave contracts again. And do you know what they say? No, you can't, and Master, didn't we have this conversation before? He says that he wants to remove the contracts because he considers them family, and that he wants to sit beside them instead of in front of them. The reason he considers removing the contracts is because of the female hero Akane. She has a slave named Lulu who appears in most of her scenes. Once she meets the main character, he dispels the contract magic, which creates an entirely different problem. If anyone can dispel the magic, then does dispelling the contract automatically free the slave? This show never answers that question. This entire issue, and most of my moral issues with the show, could have been avoided if instead of calling it slavery, they described it as contracts between two consenting parties reinforced with magic. Now here's my biggest issue. Everything in the world revolves around the main character. If MC was never summoned a year before the heroes, Molly would have been injured or killed. Sophia and Maria would still be slaves. The destroyed village and its civilians would have been left to die. The neighboring countries would have had no reason to attack Bolton. Akane would still be trapped inside the Holy Sidonia Empire, assuming she was even summoned at all. Throughout the story, we learn that the Holy Sidonia Empire only summoned the heroes because of rumors of a person in Bolton using light magic to purify water. He was even almost assassinated because of this. If that so-called heretic never existed, would they have even felt the need to summon the heroes in the first place? And even if the heroes were summoned anyway, I doubt they would have defeated the wave of monsters during the final episode, considering how weak and unprepared they are throughout the entire series. Would they have even fought the monsters in the first place? Would they have even gone to Bolton in the first place? Without Sophia, Maria, and Riva fighting alongside them, the battle would have been left entirely to the other parties of Bolton. The one, and I mean one, redeeming quality of the show is Akane, the female hero introduced in the first episode. Not only is she the only truly likable character in this series, she also has an actual motivation. Unlike the other heroes who blindly trusted their surroundings, Akane was cautious. While they trusted Elizabeth immediately and followed her into the new world, Akane remained skeptical. She treated Lulu kindly and was clearly concerned about what was happening around her. She even pretended to be evil so that she could be released, allowing her to escape to the main character. On top of that, she made reasonable deductions about the main character, believing that he was the result of a previous reincarnation. This is especially understanding because you wouldn't expect a magic powerful enough to summon heroes from another world to fail so easily. I have very few issues with her as a character because she's the only one with any meaningful character depth. She is the only character who actively questions the world around her instead of blindly accepting everything she is told. Like the main character, you would think he would be far more suspicious of Nolan and the circumstances surrounding his summoning. If a spell was powerful enough to summon heroes was cast, why did he immediately get dragged into it as well? It's not like he was standing right next to the heroes. The main character was presumably at home or work, while the heroes were at school, so his inclusion should have immediately raised some questions. The main character seems surprisingly willing to accept the explanation he is given, instead of questioning why he was brought there in the first place. This makes him come across as far less cautious and inquisitive than someone in his situation should realistically be. If the main character was never summoned, none of the story would have happened because the entire world bends around him. Possibly the greatest alchemist wastes every interesting idea it has, every interesting character it has, every conflict gets solved instantly, the world bends around the main character, and the writing falls apart the moment you think about it for more than 5 minutes. It's one of the messiest isekais I've watched in a very long time. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure to leave a like and drop any anime recommendations you have in the comments. I will try to get to as many of them as possible. Obviously, I'm a new channel and I'm kind of new at this. It might take a little bit longer, but I promise I'll try to get to all of them. What I'll basically be doing is just anime recommendations and reviews and kind of stuff like that. But yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and ciao.